I'm gonna play the recording again for you, okay, Mr. Lithgow?
Sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes dead is better. No, Mr. Lithgow, you gotta say butter. Butter. It's like butter, but it's better. It's better than butter. It's butter. It's butter. Say it. Say it like the original, Mr. Lithgow. Sometimes dead is better. No, not better. Butter. Sometimes dead is butter.
Sometimes dead is butter.
It's a fucking shit show! What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. Mood and atmosphere. No, it's fucking garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. There we go. That's the way I normally look in my videos. Fuck, I need a shave. Hey, the new Pet Sematary trailer dropped today. Also a new poster. Now, for those of you that don't want to know anything about this new trailer, and you don't want to know anything more about the movie or see anything more about the movie until you see the movie in theaters this April, do not watch this video. Why? Well, because there was a bit of a spoiler revealed in this new Pet Sematary trailer. Now, what is a spoiler to one may not be a spoiler to another, okay? We live in a day and age now where it seems like a lot of fandom is sort of, you know,
don't tell me he was wearing green shoes. Oh my God, that just gives everything away. It just gives everything away. I don't want to know anything.
and it's like, holy fuck, calm down. You know what I mean? Like, it's just nothing. You can't say, oh my God, you mean he walked? He walked? It's like, yeah, he walks. Yeah. And then there are some people like me where in order for something to be a real spoiler, it has to change the it has to be something that changes the fundamental foundation of the narrative, the direction, the aha moment, or a big twist, or, it's, and even then, I mean, I knew that Bruce Willis was dead before I watched The Sixth Sense way back in 1999, but maybe it's because of the way I look at movies, maybe it's because of the way I watch movies. I can certainly get lost in the narrative and be subjective to it. But I've always got that filmmaker sort of mind going in the background. So it takes a lot for something to spoil something for me, but that's me. Okay. That may not be you. So you're forewarned. Okay. If you don't want to know anything about this, then don't watch this video, because I can't talk about the new trailer without talking about this. It's very difficult to do so. And I'm also going to tell you why I think they made this creative choice. Okay, so I watched this trailer and I liked it. I mean, I like the style, I like the flavor, I like the mood, I like the atmosphere. However, let's keep in mind that this is a trailer's job. Some trailers are really good and they market the movie well. There are bad trailers to really good movies, and there are good trailers to really bad movies. Is this going to be a great movie? I don't know. Is it going to be a faithful adaptation and remake? I don't know. Although I will say that there was something that happens in the book and in the movie that they've not changed, they've just changed who it happens to. And of course, I'm talking about Gage. In the book and in the 1989 film, Gage is the one that gets hit by the truck and he's buried and he comes back to life. Well, it looks like in this new movie and in this new trailer, they've heavily alluded to, if not outright basically said, of course, by what they've shown, that it's not going to be Gage. It's going to be the daughter, Ellie, right? I think that's the name, Ellie. It's going to be the daughter that gets hit by the truck and comes back to life later in the movie, because obviously she's probably buried in the Pet Sematary and yada, yada, yada. Okay, so what do I think about that? Well, it's a little cliche. I'm not a big fan of it. Listen, I sat here for about, a minute or two after I watched the trailer, and I put my acting cap on. For those of you that are new, I'm a professional voice actor by trade. I went to acting school. I went to film school. So I put my acting cap on and I thought to myself, why would they? It didn't take me long to actually figure it out. And I think you guys probably already have too, before you even got confirmation yourselves if you already have not. And I thought to myself, well, look, it's more than likely because it's very difficult to get the performance you want out of a 3-year-old. It's exceptionally difficult. There's an old saying in Hollywood that, never work with children or animals. And there's a very specific reason for that. Is because it's incredibly difficult to get the performances you want out of children of very young ages and animals. And children who are very young don't necessarily possess the objective awareness and the objective acting sensibilities to give that performance that the director wants. More often than not, they're there with their parents on set or their acting coaches trying to walk them through it. Many takes can be had. So it can put a lot of stress where it's, not necessarily necessary. If your child is a bit older, and certainly possesses the skills of like a Macaulay Culkin or, an Elijah Wood or a young Dakota Fanning. I mean, those type of child actors are very far and few between. They come along once in a blue moon, and filmmakers are usually always extremely happy, although they can be a little rambunctious too, because they're children after all, are extraordinarily happy that they get to work with some such talented young actors who do possess that objective acting sensibilities and awareness. But somebody as young as this child in this movie, that's very difficult, okay? And, more often than not, very rarely do you see children of that age in movies who are being nothing but children of that age. They're not acting, they're just being themselves. They're picking up spoons, they're putting down spoons. They're picking up toys, they're putting down toys. They're making little looks to the camera. They're just being themselves, right? And the looks they catch are probably looks they had when they were rolling, when they weren't actually shooting it. Roll. He looks good. Shoot it. And then they just shoot, the kid doing shit, and then they just splice it in. I mean, that happens too, right? So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, yeah, that's probably why they made that creative, that decision to make that difference, to change that. Because let's not forget, in the 1989 film, Gage was played by Miko Hughes. Miko? And he was 3 years old in that movie. Now, he actually was quite a talented young boy. If anybody's ever watched Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994 when he was 8, he was quite talented. He sort of fell off the map, but he certainly was talented. But in the 1989 Pet Sematary, he was 3. And for a lot of those scenes, when Gage came back from the dead, they did use a doll. And because obviously although he was talented young 3-year-old, he still couldn't necessarily do the things that they wanted him to do, nor maybe was it appropriate for a young boy to be picking up a scalpel and slicing things and all that kind of shit. So I understand that. I get that. But there's a very specific reason why I think it works better that it's Gage and not Ellie. And I'll talk about that in just a second. So I Google searched to try and see if there was any truth to my thoughts. And sure enough, I stumbled upon an Entertainment Weekly article. Entertainment Weekly, very reputable and reliable source. And oh, what a coincidence. The article was posted today, the day the trailer comes out, obviously, because they knew that this was going to cause some controversy and they wanted to get ahead of the game. They wanted to be ready, locked and loaded to be able to justify why they made the decisions they did. So in this Entertainment Weekly article, there's an interview with the directors and the producers of the movie who go into detail of why they made that change. And sure enough, it's pretty much why I said. I'll read a bit of it to you here. If you're here, you've watched the new Pet Sematary trailer and learned where it deviates from King's original narrative. This time, it's not the Creed family's toddler son Gage who dies and comes back to life in that otherworldly burial ground in the woods. It's his big sister, Ellie. She's played by Jette Lawrence? Jette Lawrence? Probably butchering that. Who, based on early footage that EW has seen, is staggeringly good in both the living and undead parts of the movie. Nonetheless, this is certain to be controversial among King's constant readers, as well as fans of the 1989 film adaptation. Quote, "Trust me, we were nervous about it," says producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. "I feel this way about anything that you remake or update. If we gave you what you had before, we didn't do the subject matter much good. I'm very protective of movies too, but I want a new experience each time and feel like filmmakers have really thought about the choice." That was one we thought all right, let's make this choice. Directors Kevin Kolosh and Dennis Widmeyer hope fans will hear them out about why they felt the alteration in Jeff Ballar's screenplay was necessary. I probably butchered those last names. I apologize. For one, what readers can imagine in King's book is harder to accept when presented literally on screen. The resurrected child who returns with a voracious bloodlust is more physically intimidating in the shape of an 8-year-old girl than a 3-year-old boy. Well, personally, I think that's subjective. I don't necessarily agree with that. Much of how they shot the first movie was a doll, Widmeyer says. It's creepy and it's effective, but we've now seen child's play and we've seen the little kid trying to kill, and it's effective when done right, but, end quote. They felt it had been done already, and this was a chance to try something fresh. Gage is so young, you can't really do that much with him, Di Bonaventura says. So this way, we're able to really get underneath our affected child. We're able to get into the psychological horror of a child coming back because of her age. No offense to 3-year-old twins Hugo Lavoie and Lucas Lavoie, I guess, who alternate playing Gage, but in this version, they get to play sweet, sometimes scared, and sometimes sad, but they are kept away from both the road and scalpels. So, I get it. I understand it. But I still don't think you should have changed it. And I think you should have gone full on all dolls to the wall, man, dolls to the wall. I understand that there's that, but there's ways that you could do it that nobody is going to be thinking about Chucky. There's ways that you could have done it that is not child's play, that it's not Chucky. It's all in the I understand that there's a risk, and there's certainly meetings to be had. Okay, how do we do this that feels fresh and original, and that we're not getting comparisons to child's play? It may be unavoidable in certain respects because of how embedded Chucky is now in the pop culture consciousness, but I still think there are ways that you could have done it. But here's why it's so important that it's Gage. Ellie is of an age that she should have the objective awareness, even within her character, that she's not going to be running out into the middle of the road without looking both ways. And she certainly is old enough to be able to hear the rumble of an 18-wheeler that's coming. Whereas Gage, the character, I'm not talking about, the actor now, a 2-year-old character lacks that objective awareness. They're so caught up in their own world that they don't understand the dangers that are awaiting them on the road. And again, it was because Gage was so young and he was very little boy, little 2-year-old like, or 3-year-old, or, he was in and around that age at the very least. And when he came back to life, there was almost this maturity about him, like this new set of this new mindset that was much more mature than the 2 or 3-year-old, body that he possessed. So it was very eerie and creepy, right? The contrast was very big. Whereas when it comes to Ellie, who is supposed to be 8 years old, she's a bit older, and she's certainly old enough that she should possess, like I said, that objective awareness of her surroundings and know not to run out into the middle of the road and certainly hear an 18-wheeler coming. Now, again, we've just seen some quick cuts in the trailer. We don't know how it's all going to unfold. Maybe once we watch the movie, it'll be like, oh yeah, okay, this plays out very organically. I totally buy the way they shot it, the way it's executed. I buy that this 8-year-old girl was struck by this truck, and it did feel like she could have been hit by it. But the whole reason why it was Gage in the first place is because of the vulnerability that a 2 or 3-year-old has as opposed to an 8-year-old girl in terms of being aware of the danger that is in their immediate surroundings. Whereas having it, be Ellie and the little girl, it's like, oh God, it's another creepy little girl in a horror movie. We've seen this. You've exhausted this cliche to death. And it doesn't mean that the movie's not going to be good, and it doesn't mean that maybe she's not going to be creepy, but it's just such an overused cliche, the creepy little girl in a horror movie. And it's like, how many times do we fucking see this? That's what was so different and so refreshing about the character of Gage, was because it was almost the polar opposite of what you would expect, which made it even creepier. I don't want it to be the little girl. It's just another creepy little fucking chick. Okay, it's just another creepy little girl, and I don't want to see that. okay? It works best when it's Gage because of the emotional weight and impact because of the age of the child. And that's not that any child in that situation's not horrific, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I don't understand, because to me now when I watch the trailer, I just see another scary little girl in a horror movie that we've seen 1,000 fucking times. Okay, one of the best parts about that book and that 1989 film is Gage coming back to life. Now, fucking creepy it is. Not Ellie. Anyways, here's the poster, and the poster sort of alludes to the twist, if you will, if not outright gives it away, because here we have Ellie front and center on the poster. Sometimes dead is better. That's right, it's better. It's better. It's not better. It's better. It's better, like butter. It's a cool poster. I mean, the artwork is great. And I love Church at the top there, with the yellow eyes. And Church is not a black cat, but he kind of looks black in that poster, which is cool. So it kind of reminds me of my cat. But yeah, I mean, it's cool artwork. It's actually a pretty cool poster. But I will say that, yeah, I mean, obviously front and center there is Ellie. And that sort of basically alludes to the fact that Ellie is, you know, the one that comes back. So, yeah. Anyways, folks, that's really all I got to say about it. I've only watched the trailer once, so maybe I'll watch it again and I might have some more thoughts, but not really. I mean, I can usually watch something once and go, okay, I know what I want to say. That's me. Anyways, folks, my name's Dave McRae. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can at facebook.com/manythingsdavemcrae. That's where I tend to post in the meantime and in between time when I'm not posting here. The link is in the description as well. If you want to help support the channel each and every month via Patreon, that link is in the description too, as well as links to my IMDb, Twitter, merch store, and my official website. So you can check them out if you want. Yeah, sometimes dead is butter. Cheers.